All right, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by another live episode of Real Estate Titans, sponsored by Lion Bolt Media. I'm your host, Greg Fowler, traveling throughout the marketplace, interviewing the top real estate professionals in our field, essentially gathering insight, inspiration, really drives and motivates these top producers above and beyond everybody else, and what I'd like to consider a real estate titan. Now, our very special guest and feature titan for today, I'm super excited about this one, honored and thrilled to death, Jaime Resendiz. Jaime, I can't wait to dive in, my friend. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Greg, thank you so much for the invite. I'm excited to be here. It's been a while.
Oh gosh, I know. And again, I was in the green room before we went live, everybody. I was just kind of gushing on Jaime and top tier brain. I mean, just absolutely incredible. So I can't wait for you to learn from one of the best and brightest. And I don't use that term lightly. But Jaime, I just want to go into kind of the beginning of your origin story, right? And I think that that journey is so important. So I'd love for anybody who doesn't know you or familiar with your brand or what you do as a top tier professional, where you're from, what got you into the business, what's your journey that led you up till where you are today. Let's go there.
Awesome. Well, I'm originally from Mexico. So I moved up to Texas with my family when I was 5. So they brought me up here, right? So I grew up in West Texas, very small town outside of Lubbock, Texas. And I spent all my years, elementary, middle school, high school, college out in West Texas, but I moved to Dallas, Fort Worth in 2012 and started in healthcare, did about 4.5 years in healthcare. So I was the chief operating officer of a network of compounding pharmacies. So we were distributing medications everywhere, but healthcare is a tough road to hoe. So it's one that, it was challenging, and I took my exit in 2016. So got rid of my ownership stake in the pharmacies there and started in real estate. Now, I didn't go purposely into real estate. It was more of okay, so I have an exit from this first career, if you will. Where do I want to take my talents? Now, I had originally been investing already in real estate, and I had a conversation with my realtor who helped me buy that house and sell that house. So after I left that my previous company, so real estate started making sense to me. I really enjoyed the real estate part of it. So I actually got my real estate license in part to him, but also to necessity. Because after I took my exit from the pharmacies, I opened up a business brokerage. So I help business owners sell their businesses.
Wow.
Something I knew how to do because of the pharmacies, because we bought pharmacies, sold pharmacies, bought laboratories, sold laboratories. So that was my role in that previous gig, if you will.
Yeah.
So I started my business brokerage, and I didn't know that I needed a real estate license to participate in commercial real estate commission. That's how new I was.
Yep.
So once you miss out on a commercial deal the first time, you don't miss out on it again. So that's when I got my real estate license and started practicing from the real estate component, but very quickly started getting into the education of other real estate agents and team building. So really more than anything right now, I would say my niche and my focus is helping real estate agents go from 0 to 1 as quickly as possible.
Wow. And Jaime, we're going to dive deeper into that in a minute, but I just love your story as what brought you into the business and your journey. And it's everybody's story is different, and what brings everybody in the business is so different. And again, just what a technical background into, your prior occupation and the journey. You're already kind of working your way in through real estate, and it was a necessity into that point, and you've just skyrocketed ever since. So you have a massive technical background. Like you're so good. I mean, and I use this in the best of ways, nerdy, like super nerdy, very detail oriented, getting things done with technology marketing. So let's talk about that aspect of it, because you really help so many people and so many real estate professionals with that. So let's pick up where you left off, I guess.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I don't take that to heart at all. So I don't come to podcast to get insulted.
Hey, I use that only endearing. I consider myself a nerd as well, so it's good.
You're good. So I think the level, what really heightened my desire and my need to be so accurate with things was in my pharmacy days. So as an example there, when we would purchase a pharmacy or when we were getting licensed to distribute medications all across the country, when I joined, we were a small company. There was about 12 employees. We had a couple of pharmacies at that time, but within 18 months, we were distributing medications in all 50 states. We had grown to 120-ish employees at that time, had doubled our pharmacy count. So our need to be very precise was on the billing side. So in pharmacy, you have to be get into contracts and be very, very precise in where you can do business and where you can't, or else your pharmacy gets shut down.
Wow.
So I'm talking about the DEA. I'm talking about the Texas Pharmacy Board, all of these different regulators that would come into our pharmacies periodically. So we really needed to be very exact with what we were doing, especially not just from the regulatory standpoint, but we're distributing medications that could kill people.
Right.
So thankfully, I don't do that. I don't do anything about that. But in terms of being able to document everything. So it's that preciseness or that need to be accurate that really translated well over here to the technical component, because you miss one little button, you miss one little connection between a CRM and your IDX or your Zapier account to your any other thing that you're doing. You really have to be accurate. So it's not that I had the patience to learn it. It's just I had the necessity to get that right.
Wow.
So that's where a lot of the technical component, even in some of the videos, I think that's how we might have connected originally.
Yes.
A lot of the videos that I share, it's not just theory in talking about, hey, you should do this and do that. I literally show you exactly how to do that because I was able to solve it for myself. And I know that if I had trouble, I consider myself pretty good at these things, learning these items. I know there's a lot of other real estate agents that have much more important problems to solve than making sure that their KB Core account is connected and firing off the email autoresponder correctly.
Right. Yeah. And I love the detail orientation from the background and carrying forward and everything to real estate and technology and everything that you do in your world. Not everybody is paying attention to those things, unfortunately, and that's how things slip through the cracks or things end up being compromised, as you mentioned, which I am a huge fan of that detail. And speaking of being a huge fan, I'm a huge fan of your YouTube channel in specific, and that is how we first met. And I've just been consuming your content for quite a long time. And it's so great, click by click, step by step, really important information that real estate professionals need to know to grow and scale business. And you just give it so freely, Jaime. It's so refreshing to see that. And again, I'd encourage everybody to subscribe to this man's channel. I'll have links in the show notes as always. But Jaime, so as you're going down that path, and you're educating, you're helping real estate professionals, I did want to go over Agently and really talk about that world, because I think it's important for everybody to tune in if they're really looking for those aspects, or for somebody who's been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. There are people out there and you're one of them. So would you mind sharing a little bit about Agently and kind of what's going on there?
No, absolutely. So Agently became a must because of the way that I wanted to help real estate agents. So with the YouTube channel, the content was out there before I had anything to offer anybody, in the sense that products, services, or trying to monetize that. It was more of a resource for real estate agents. It was something that I was losing money every single day making videos, but there was really no rhyme or reason to make the videos outside of just making them. So made the videos, and what I would find more often than not is a lot of individuals that were taking the information, repackaging it, claiming it as their own, and then selling $5,000 courses, $10,000 courses, when the information was provided just right there on YouTube for absolutely free. Mm-hmm. So one of the challenges that I had was I didn't want to get into the service business of launching ads, as an example, for real estate agents. That just wasn't something that really excited me at that time. Sure. So Agently came out of that, in the sense that now we have a software that can actually make the information that I share for free on YouTube, make it accessible to everybody. So think of it like democratizing real estate coaching, where you don't have to pay a real estate coach, whomever it is. You don't have to pay a real estate coach $500 a month, $5,000 a month. You get access to Agently, which not only shares with you the strategies that actually work, shows you how to implement them, gives you the resources to do so, and in many cases actually does the work for you. As an example, we've been told get on social media a billion times, and we can only sit through so many CEs before we actually do it. Well, when we sit down to do it, there's very little substance behind the person that told us how to do that. So we find ourselves going to Canva, we find ourselves going to Fiverr, we find ourselves going to some resource or places where we can get gig-based work for templates, for what to say and all that fun stuff. Well, as an example with Agently, not only are you every single day, do you wake up and you get assigned the social media task, but you also click one button, it's already done for you. It goes over to your social media. So we already have the templates, they're personalized, they're customized specifically for you, and they get sent out. That's just one of many ways that we actually make the act of doing real estate just so accessible for everybody.
The fact that you had created something like this, Jaime, it speaks volumes about you really paying attention to the details, as we discussed, but the necessity for real estate professionals to brand themselves, to get messages out there to the proper people and places on the proper sites. And you and I know this very well. I mean, unfortunately, so many real estate professionals are juggling so many balls or balancing so many plates. This is something that a lot of instances gets put on the back burner. But the true professionals, the highest producers, they are really paying attention and have paid attention to this for quite some time. But the fact that you've put this together, and I've got the site pulled up here, we'll also have in the show notes and links below. This is fantastic. But so what's the best way for people to learn more about what you're talking about, and to find it, I guess, in audio format? So if you're just listening, they can hear you.
Yeah, just heading over to agently.com and schedule a demo. We'll go through a very detailed explanation of what you can do. So we're using artificial intelligence for our real estate coaching. We're using artificial intelligence to write property descriptions for you. So you don't have to, there's so many different ways to say beautiful. You don't have to go through all of them. This will actually do it for you. Social media is covered. Video marketing is covered. Your marketing kits are created, your website's created, your landing pages are created. Everything is in one place. So we leverage artificial intelligence in a real estate way. We are the world's first virtual real estate coach, and applying artificial intelligence in a real estate lens.
Unreal. Well, and Jaime, I love the fact that, in the green room, we were talking about AI just for a second, and so many people throw that around so lightly, and you really, really have a hold on this. So it's exciting. I can't wait. So everybody, listen to what Jaime's saying, check out agently.com. And for more information, book that strategy session or call just to learn more, the demo. But Jaime, I want to dive into an additional question. And this is actually one of the audience's favorites when it comes down to it, because they're wanting to know how the Titans have grown and scaled, and just to learn from the best and the brightest. So this is open-ended in any direction you want to take it, Jaime. But if you could look back at your career thus far and pick or choose one or two things that you added or implemented that you really saw growth, you really saw movement of the needle, what was that for you? What advice would you give anybody tuning in to the show?
Such a great question. So I'll answer it from an abstract, so very subjective, not subjective, but just very high level. And then I'll get into something tactical. That's where I like to operate. But overall, I would say focus on something that you can do 1,000 times, not focus on 1,000 things that you can do once. Oof. So effectively work on whatever you want to do, whether it's direct mail, whether it's open houses, whether it's networking, whether it's whatever. Take it to a level of mastery and be able to replicate it time and time again. Oftentimes we as entrepreneurs and real estate agents will get into Facebook ads for a second. And then next week, we're going to go in Google ads. And next week, we're going to try YouTube. And next week. So that's a great way to not gain momentum in anything, really. And to be candid with you, Greg, that's really where I found myself in the first 3 to 4 years of being an entrepreneur. So I had the little guardrails in school. You know, I knew what I needed to do in high school, did well. College, a little bit more broader guardrails, but still I knew what the end goal was, graduation, hopefully. Did pretty well there. My first role in that healthcare space went from operations to chief financial officer, then migrated over to chief operating officer, grew the company, all that fun stuff, took my exit. Great. So I had these guardrails, but when you're starting really from a fresh slate, or I don't know if that's the correct way of saying it, but when you're looking at your business and you can go anywhere, oftentimes we do. So if you can focus on some element of your business that you really want to go down the path on, take it to that level of mastery. Don't do 1,000 things once, do one thing 1,000 times. That's the 40,000 foot, I guess, piece of advice. From a tactical component, I would say record everything that you're doing. Yes, it can help you from a branding perspective. We see that with Gary Vee and all that fun stuff on sharing what you're doing, documenting in your journey. But what I'm more concerned about for real estate agents is document what you're doing so you can pass that off to other individuals to help you in your business. Wow. So we were in a mastermind this morning, and a very high level producer, Kim, she does over 50 transactions every single year. So my suggestion to her was, well, we need to start documenting the way that you make the calls. We need to start documenting the way that you work with clients. We need to start documenting the way that you do things in your business, not because you need anything else to do, but because you need to invest this time to be able to duplicate yourself when you bring on your buyer's agents, when you bring on your ISAs, when you bring on your VAs. So then you don't have to be behind the screen spending 5 days, 10 days, 20 days trying to convey everything that you're doing. Well, now when you're recording everything that you're doing, again, the way that you're making your calls, the way that you make offers, the way that you negotiate, the way that you're doing the business, you have a library to pass on to any agents that you bring on, any support staff that you bring on. And that's really how you're going to start scaling.
Wow. You know, as you mentioned, the 45,000 foot, or the big metric, that is game changing, and people really need to take that to heart, is to stay focused. And I think that's important, because there's a lot of squirrels. I was talking to a buddy just yesterday, and you know, he's mentioning, yeah, there's so many squirrels that are around. I said, yeah, sometimes it feels like somebody threw a bag of squirrels out there, and you're always looking one another. Focus, I think, is crucial. And I love how you put that, much more eloquent than I did. But I think looking at it from your tactical side, Jaime, that's huge in scaling and in leverage, right? And there's only so much time in a day. There's only so much that you can pour into your support staff and the people and processes and systems that you're handling and touching every day. And that's brilliant. I think that to get more clarity, what's your recommendation on how to capture that content? Is it something that you would say, hey, you know, you should sit down periodically, you know, once a week, once a day, once a month, and then, you know, take one bite at a time? Or would you have somebody follow you with a camera? I mean, what, just a little deeper in there, I think would be good.
No, that's a great question. So I would focus on revenue generating activities first.
Got it.
So the admin, that's simple, that's easy. But a lot of people like myself, we can spend hours and hours and hours reconfiguring all of our folders and relabeling them. And it's going to make it so much easier and do all sorts of stuff. But at the end of the day, we just spend 8 hours wasting our time.
Right.
So again, we as entrepreneurs, we need to look at the top line first, because the rest is going to start fixing itself.
Wow. Beautiful.
So from the revenue generating activities, it could be something as simple as recording what you're doing right now. So just so you see kind of what I'm talking about, I'll kind of break the fourth wall. This is going to make sense if you're watching the video, watching YouTube, but I'm actually recording myself right now.
There he is.
Right? So this is something that we need to be mindful of. I might have lost you when I did that. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, and I can see you.
Okay, perfect. It was
Yep.
just my monitor that I pulled off.
Yeah.
So focus on revenue generating activities first. It can be something as simple as setting up a tripod similar to what I have before I disconnected all my monitors so I can't see you. But you don't have to go down the Gary V of hiring your D-Rock or whomever the person that's following them nowadays.
Right.
It's focus on the revenue generating activities. If you're an open houser, record that. If you're a cold caller, record that. If you're even listing appointments, hey, I'd like to record this just for training purposes for my team. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times you're going to get a yes. That's not a big issue for anybody. In fact, it's going to allow you to stand out where the seller is going to feel so pressured in a way to actually just go ahead and list with you.
Wow.
So you don't have to invest in a videographer. You can if you want, but you can just you can just purchase a tripod for $30 on Amazon and it's going to work just fine.
Oh, Jaime, I love that you mentioned that, and literally just documenting what you're doing as a producer every day and looking at the top line activities, the revenue generating activities to really do. Now, any recommendation as far as once the content is captured, are you looking at it from a let's put it in a Google Drive or let's put it into some kind of Trello board? Like what's your process after the professional? Anybody who's tuning into this, hopefully you're all gonna do this. What's the next step with the content?
So the next step is depending on what phone you have, or if you're using a camera, we just throw it onto YouTube.
Okay.
So we can throw it onto Google Drive, but not everybody has the 1 terabyte storage.
Sure.
Doesn't cost that much, but not everybody has that. Not everybody wants to keep these hard drives that I have over here. I don't even like doing that.
Yeah,
so for us, it's just so much easier to just dump the footage onto YouTube, label the date, label the strategy, and anything of note that we need to pull from there.
Wow.
So anytime I do something for the first time, say we bring on a new agent and there's just a new thing that I had never even thought about. Well, whenever I address the need, I go ahead and actually record that and I throw it on YouTube. So now we use Notion now. We used to use Trello, but now we use Notion for everything.
Okay.
We warehouse everything from cold calling, from open houses, from direct mail, from anytime we get feedback from clients, we go ahead and have we throw it on that Notion page. So everything goes on YouTube and everything goes on Notion. So we have a central hub for our agents and for ourselves internally.
Wow. Jaime, you're peeling it back, my friend. And that's what's so beautiful about you. You always do this. I mean, you go real deep and real granular. And that's why I'm just honored that you're taking the time to be on the show today. I think that as you had mentioned that, sparks were flying in my head, and hopefully anybody who's watching or listening as well. As Jaime recommends to document what's going on in your world, that sticks out to me as there's going to be gold or pieces of content that you can take from that and repurpose for just branding, as you mentioned earlier. So repurposing into stories or shorts, or if it ends up being just pieces of content for TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, LinkedIn, and that alleviates any excuse. Oh, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what content to capture or go through. Jaime just told you what to do. Jaime literally just said, here it is. Document what you're doing, top from the bottom, revenue generating. You're going to pull gold from that. That's huge. Last question, because I can nerd out on you all day long, Jaime. You've been super great. When it comes to editing video, because you're the master, obviously your YouTube channel is incredible. I can't state that enough. What are your thoughts for a real estate professional looking to get more involved in video? Everyone knows they should have done it, years and years and years ago. There's still excuse after excuse. But if somebody's willing to, take that leap now after hearing you and listening to this either way, what's the recommendation on editing? I mean, do you hire somebody? Do you send it out to a VA? Do you do it yourself? What's your recommendation on editing footage to get it out there?
No, such a good question. So first, you're going to need to have faith that this works.
Right.
And I know it sounds like it's such a random thing to say, but I go back to the first time that I ever outsourced my video editing. I was not good to begin with, but I also could not fathom paying somebody $35 to do something I could do it myself.
Right.
That's something I just battled so hard, but at the end of the day, I ended up doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sorry, it's all flickering over here. My camera has, my monitor has gone crazy, but
You're good. You're good.
From that component, just have faith that this works.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's people out there succeeding using these strategies. So just have faith that if it works for them, it's going to work for you. Mm-hmm. You're not the pioneer. You just need to model what's happening over here, implement it in your business, and go. So once you have that faith and have that understanding, your editing should be going out to somebody else.
Okay.
And the reason being is because there's a lot higher revenue generating activities that you can do with your time. There's either, if you're a cold caller, go cold call some more. If you're an open houser, go do more open houses. If you're a networker, go and network some more. If you're a, whatever you're doing to bring business to you, go ahead and pay for that.
Yeah. Because
editing, even if you get really good at it, the professionals out there are going to absolutely stomp you. So not only are you going to spend 3, 4, 5, 20 hours trying to get to that perfection, which is 3, 5, 20 hours that are away from your business. Mm-hmm. But even if you get really good, you're still going to not be good enough from the video editing perspective. So it's a losing proposition. Same thing with design. So if you're on YouTube, the thumbnails are the first things that you should get outsourced. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that, again, I think we understand it intuitively and it makes sense while we're hearing it, but unless you have that faith to actually invest in, now pay somebody $50, $100, $200 to edit your videos, or pay somebody $5, $10, $20 to get a thumbnail design for you, until you actually get to that point to where you understand that that's an investment, you're not going to do it. Wow. It's just going to be a thing that is going to look really good on paper, but it's just going to stay there.
Oh, man. And again, Jaime, it's so nice to hear it from a true practitioner. I mean, you've been there, done that about the t-shirt. And sometimes we just need to hear it from a different perspective. And most people that are tuning in right now, they know they should be doing these things. Some of them have, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, we all need to take that piece of advice and really just dive deep into our brand and into our business and understand that, like you said, it's an investment. It really is an investment in the future of your business. That's your brand. That's your messaging that's going out to the masses. So Jaime, I could literally pick your brain all day long. And I know the audience would love that as well. But I want to just say that if anybody out there who's tuning into this and loves what Jaime's saying, please reach out to this man, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Just Google him. He's everywhere. Follow on social media to learn and master these things in real estate. But Jaime, I can't thank you enough for taking the time today, my friend. It was incredible.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. What you're doing here is astounding, the way that you're bringing in some guests and really sharing the information to real estate agents that if they're just getting into the business or if they're trying to get from 50 to 100, there's a lot of great content here. So kudos to you for the consistency, for the quality, and just the way that you make things move, the way that you make your guests feel extremely welcome and validate their points, whether how good or bad they are. It's great. I mean, kudos to you. You're doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, thank you, Jaime. That means a lot coming from you. That's massive praise, massive praise. And again, you are a big part of that through Titans, my friend, for being on the show and sharing your story and so much. So I can't thank you enough, as always, my friend. And everybody, I want to thank you as always for your time and attention, your love and support. If you like here at doing the Real Estate Titans, don't forget to like, subscribe. You know what to do at this point, but I've got to say it anyway. I do want to give our sponsor a quick shout out, Limebolt Media. If you're looking to grow and scale in a big way digitally, visit lineboltmedia.com for more information. We are live here every Tuesday afternoon, a different Titan, a different location. We'll catch everybody in the next live episode of Real Estate Titans. Take care. Thanks, Jaime.